talk a little bit about the Whitney and the Carriage House right here, but I'm going to leave it to you guys. Just going to check it out as we walk. So this is the Whitney Mansion, at least the back of it. It was finished eventually in 1894. It was a residential home for one family, for the David Whitney family.
Wow.
And it is just, I mean, it's as extraordinary inside as it looks outside. It was extraordinary when it was built. It's built out of pink jasper, which is, as I understand it, one of the hardest stones to quarry and cut and put in place. It was originally built for what in 1894 dollars was $1 million, basically. But in 2024, that $1 million equates to about $35 million. That is nothing compared to what it cost to furnish it. So, and what's inside this building, if you haven't been in, I mean, incredible old wood and plaster and at one point in its history, tapestries, statuary, and other adornments that all told were $6 million in furnishings, but which equate to $20 million today.
Wow.
So the house, amazing. Inside, even more so. It has 42 rooms, 20 fireplaces, 10 bathrooms. It's a private restaurant. It's a public restaurant, but it's now used as a restaurant. It's been a restaurant since maybe, yeah. So it's been a restaurant since 1987, actually. The Whitney, yeah.
Oh, wow, they're blocking traffic. That's
that I learned about recently actually is a bit more history about the Carriage House. So the Carriage House, step forward a little bit, this was actually, when it was built in the 1890s to support the house, this was actually...
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we paid extra to have that.
Right. This Carriage House is actually one of the most advanced carriage houses anywhere. It still is one of the, it actually today is probably one of the largest and maybe last remaining carriage houses that had horse stalls in it, anywhere in the city. And the advances in technology that they used, actually there was an elevator, it's still there, it's not, I don't know that it's used anymore, but the elevator actually would lift off-season carriages into place. So your winter carriages, it's summertime, put those things in storage, and they lift those into place and bring the warmer weather carriages down. It's still used by the Whitney, it's still owned by them. It is the source of some stories, and those stories are nothing less than ghost stories as far as I'm concerned. There's a particular table with a tea setting on it in the Carriage House. It's not a good idea to move this setting. If it doesn't stay in place, the stories are that things start to move and doors start to close and dishes start to fall and things like that. It is believed that actually the ghost of David Whitney and his late wife still make their way around the house. The stories are so prevalent that actually the top floor of the building is now called the Ghost Bar. I don't know that you can see anybody when you're there. I don't know that you'll see apparitions. However, the Ghost Bar is one of my favorite bars in the whole city.
It's
You
nice.
don't even have to have dinner at the restaurant. You can come in when they're open, have drinks. Frequently there's either a duo or a trio in there playing music. It's, when I said I was take us past the interesting and historically significant and sexier spots in the city. To me, that's one of the sexiest, most romantic spots in the whole city. You can go there with friends, but if you're going to go on date night, I think it's a terrific spot to go. They have a particular drink, among others, that if you're going to have more than one, you should probably have a chaperone. It's called the Witching Hour, and it's made with a couple of different terrific liqueurs, a lemon liqueur, a raspberry liqueur, vodka, and then it's rimmed with sugar, and it'll sneak up on you.
That comes with the tour too, right? We get a taste test.
Oh. Today, yes, yeah, maybe. If you look through like the trees there and see that square, you can see that is a DW for David Whitney. That square carved on the side there. So
That's the other side of the bay.
there are a lot of these little emblems around the surface of the building. I remember when they were putting new HVAC in the building. You know, it's such an immense space, and the carrier had to be put in just so. They actually used a helicopter to lift that into place.
Oh wow!
So, and it serves this immense house. A bunch of money in the 1860s, 1870s. David Whitney was primarily a lumberman, and most of his fortune, and I'm just going to guess what went to build this house, was earned after a particular fire in a particular city across the lake, reputedly started by a cow.
Wow.
So when Chicago burned to the ground in October of 1871, it needed to be rebuilt. And much of the white pine that went to rebuild the city of Chicago was supplied by David Whitney's company. It's now a full-time restaurant. Fine dining, linen tables, terrific service, great food. I think we're going to find out. I think we're going to need a beer at their happy hour or something. But they have, over the warmer months, it's either Thursdays or Fridays, they have, as Gary was saying, they have these garden parties. So I think like for $5 or $6 you can get in, and then they have entertainment and I think snacks and beverages available. But this is a particularly unique spot in the city. But as grand as this house is, remember this area, like Wayne's campus, like up and down Woodward, up and down Cass, west of here, east of here, this was a neighborhood. There were houses, there were churches. And
gotta love it.
They brought back one of the guys who started Slow Roll. They started doing it again on Thursday night. So if you've got a bike and some time on a Thursday night, when you come back from Austin,
Woodward's pretty lively today, huh?
It is a little.
Saturday.
It's a good opportunity to spend some time. This is a good, really short summary though of the residence itself. It is on the Registry of Historic Places. It's worth another look. Before it became what it is now, once it was built in 1894, David Whitney only lived about 6 years, and then he died. But his widow continued to live in the house for another 30 to 40 years. The house was donated, I believe, to the Michigan Home Nurses Association, and then eventually, like a lot of other places, became under the ownership of Wayne State. I don't believe there was a move to tear it down. Like so many things.
It was the VNA.
Right.
Forever.
Right. And then eventually in 1987, I believe, a gentleman by the name of Dick Kuhn bought it. He actually lived in Rosedale. You know where Brentwood hits Warwick?
Yeah.
There's that big house right on
With
the
the,
point. That was his house.
Nice.
So Dick was a manufacturer and a financier. He also owned Lionel Trains, and he actually owned one of the most unique and largest private car collections in the city of Detroit. He used to house it in a warehouse near Grand River and the Southfield Expressway. So